It's been almost 11 years since I published my Neo review, one of the few racing videos on this channel. Please don't watch it, it's horrible in every way. The reason for mentioning it is because by pure chance, pun intended, this video is again on a similar topic, an over-the-top ATV racing game or quad bike racing game, making huge jumps while performing dangerous tricks in the air. This is Pure by Black Rock Studio. If you are new to this channel, From the Beehive is a series where I make videos about games from my physical collection, and this time Pure is on display. It's developed by Black Rock Studio, which before its closure specialized in racing games, although their name has changed over the years. Most of their catalog has received favorable coverage from the press. There is one more game I would love to cover sometime in the near future, Split Second. It does look like a lot of fun. Anyway, let's stay on track and not get distracted. Pure is pure arcade racing game through and through, something I love playing, although by the end it started to outstay its welcome. So what's the game all about? Simple. First you pick a driver and start building your ATV, or you can just press F12 for a quick assembly. I choose to make it from scratch. Some parts, like the frame, give you points in 5 categories: speed, acceleration, handling, boost and tricks. So you have to customize it to your liking, or more specifically, how you want the ATV to perform on the tracks. You need to choose wisely and focus on specific stats, because there is no option to have a balanced build. Think of it as character creation in an RPG. The other parts are just cosmetics. They don't give you points in anything. However, if you need to rebalance your ATV, you have two options: create a new one from the extra slot you receive eventually, or swap any part as required. There is a third option: don't do anything. I played with the same ATV through the whole game. I just upgraded with the parts that gave me most points in the category I needed. I read online that it's better to have different ATVs for different types of races. In theory, it makes sense because some races require more speed and acceleration, while others need more in tricks. In practice, I just used whatever I had. Perhaps I would perform better if I did it, but my experience suggests it's not necessary. I wish this was pushed more in the gameplay. It will make you think more about which parts to place and making different ATVs for different situations. It will definitely feel more involved. Once you're done, it's time for the World Tour. It consists of 10 stages, each featuring 4 to 7 events or different races. If you win enough points, you can move to the next stage. This means you have to be in the top 3. If you finish first, that's even better, because it means you get more and new parts. Even the opening scene before your first race says that. The end goal is to reach number 1, starting from 100 position, but to do so, you must win almost all races. I finished in second place for reasons I'll explain later. It's time to race. As I said, this is an arcade racing game, but with a twist. Your most important resource is your boost, or thrill meter as the game calls it. You need it to perform tricks, and by doing them, you get a boost. Simple. There is one tiny detail to help you achieve your best. The tracks have many ramps you can throw yourself from. The trick is to pull back the stick on the controller just before the jump and thrust it forward at the edge, making the jump higher and longer. The game calls this preloading. You shift your weight. Think of it as a slingshot. You pull and release. Once you're up in the air, you need to start performing tricks. They can be basic, intermediate, expert and special. The more complex it is, the more boost you get. The ideal approach is to string together multiple tricks as long as possible, allowing you to accumulate a lot of boost. Boost is essential. It doesn't play the exact role as you probably seen it in other games. It does help a bit to catch up to the other drivers, but it's mostly used in addition to the tricks. It makes you jump higher and further, allowing you to execute more than just the basic tricks. You should use it and push forward. You shouldn't save it. The trick system is straightforward, which is beneficial for this type of game. Press the left stick in any direction and select one of the 4 buttons to perform different kind of trick. However, you can't just freely do, besides the basic ones, whichever you want. You need certain level of thrill meter to unlock them instantaneously. If you use it or crash, besides falling behind in a race, you'll see a chunk of the meter depleted. This could hinder your chances of making better tricks and winning, but it's not always the case. There is always a chance for recovery and maybe reaching a first place. On top of this, you can extend any trick or tweak it with the press of a button, which adds even more decisions for you to make while in the air. I often go for that because I was greedy and wanted the boost. Another thing to consider is shifting the weight. Besides being the core component of the trick system, there is another use for it. It's not always a requirement to make the highest or the furthest jump. Sometimes it's better to minimize the air time simply because the others will pass you while you do a big jump. The way to do it is by shifting your weight to front or back. For instance, if you have a limited road ahead, push the driver forward as you jump. That way you won't be flying high and you'll land sooner on the road. If you notice you are flying further than intended, simply pull back the driver to stall him in the air. You have excellent control over the ATV while in the air. While it's not full control, it does allow fixing mistakes on the spot. I appreciate that. It does add a little bit of complexity and test your reactions. For an arcade racer, there are enough mechanics to play with. Building your ATV and making it accelerate in the sections you want, shifting weight and executing tricks without crashing. Or crashing. It will happen frequently and it will be mostly your fault. There are occasional moments when someone lands on your head or you jump so high that you end up smashing yourself on the tracks. I often find myself flying all over the track because I was greedy. I wanted to squeeze one more trick, ending with a dire result. And crashing is part of the fun. It's not only you who does it all the time. The AI-controlled racers do it as often as you, making the race way more exhilarating in addition to the great sense of speed and massive jumps. I did win several races just because the AI made mistake at the last moment. It's especially fun to see when a large number of races fly around after unsuccessful landing. There are no difficulty options, but the game is well balanced, requiring you to fight for each position. The game is balanced around needing certain category parts like the engine to be competitive. You can't use more powerful engine in the early stages. I did try it and it just reverts back automatically to the lower power engine. This way you can't breeze through the game and keeps the challenge up. The games also encourage aggressive driving, especially when you try to catch up to the leader. If you want to win, you better take risky turns and step the pedal to the metal. You need to demonstrate your ability to control the ATV, perform tricks, and show good knowledge of the tracks. For everything to work smoothly like a well-oiled ATV, you need good tracks, and they are exceptionally well done. The tracks are the star of the game. There are several reasons for that. First, thematically they are very diverse. Forest, mining settlement, desert, island, etc. with all the bells and whistles in the background to make it not just a barren land. What makes them work so well is that they have so many different roads to drive. Some can be a shortcut, others can take you a long way around and you can fall behind, but they intertwine, so even if you fall behind, by a chance or bad driving, it might not be the end of the road. There is a chance to catch up the leader, and this is just a great design, or you can just restart the track. This ties to the type of races. Sprint is a 5-lap circuit, but on a very short track. You have minimal chance of tricks, but these are focused on speed and precision driving. Here is where I notice the AI makes very few mistakes, but you are punished harshly for each. So you need to be on top of your game and learn how to take each turn with minimal slowdown. Sprints were the least enjoyable for me, mainly due to the preload mechanic. This is tied to my controller, I think. Whenever I make a sharp turn, it seems like I preload a jump and this throws me off every time. I think my controller is not working properly. I say sprint, but in other tracks with sharp turns like 180 degrees, it happens the same, but it's less likely to cause me problems because I have some time to catch up. Even if this issue is non-existent, I find it less enjoyable because the others are much more fun and utilize the game's strengths. As a result, I didn't finish in first place on some of the sprints and ultimately I came second at the end of the game. Race is just 3 laps, a standard for a racing game, and the goal is to cross the finish line first by knowing, finding shortcuts, proper driving and boost so you can fly high. These are tons of fun and where I experimented to see where the diversions on the road will take me. Sometimes I manage to sprint ahead, others fall to the back of the column of ATVs. Lastly, my favorite, freestyle. You drive on the same tracks, but with the distinction that every cliff, hill and drop has an additional ramp, allowing you to jump even higher than normally. The idea is to link together tricks. The more complex the trick, the more points you get. You have limited fuel that goes down constantly and the race is over when it's depleted. Wins whoever makes the most points. This is such a cool and fitting race time. On top of that, there are power-ups on the tracks, 2x multiplier, boost and freezing the fuel. The best strategy for this mode is to keep your multiplier rising and keep it as high as possible by chaining tricks as much as possible. Each trick gives you certain amount of points, with the special ones giving the most. Once you can no longer keep it, it will multiply the score you achieved. There are some races where I finished with more than 100,000 points ahead, because I reached 9x multiplier. In this mode, the splits on the tracks offer massive jumps, where in other cases you will fall behind. This is why the knowledge of the tracks is required and some experimenting to see where the road leads you. However, you will achieve it by repeatedly playing the tracks. And this is one of my few gripes with the game, repetition. The World Tour features around 60 races, all which takes place on the same tracks. By the end, there are 2 or so additional, which were nice change of scenery, but they also quickly started to repeat. Keep in mind, you restart the races many times, which also doesn't help. Don't get me wrong, there are plenty of tracks to race through, but it's inevitable to get tired of seeing them. Another minor issue I've noticed is that when you crash, it might take a long time to get back on the track. You can't keep seeing you rolling around. Also, my game got stuck on the loading screen once for some reason, but you can move the camera during the loading. The game is not exactly a perfect port, but it's playable. It doesn't display properly the Xbox controls, only numbers, so I had to experiment to figure out which button does what. It didn't take me long to learn them though. An examination of BlackRock Studios' releases suggests they have been refining their ATV craft since the PS2 era. They released a couple of similar games, and from what I've read, they play similarly. Perhaps Pure serves as the epic conclusion of what they learned over the years, and to help spread awareness, the game was released across multiple platforms. It supposedly sold 2.5 million copies, but that's unconfirmed. Keep in mind that the game was bundled along with LEGO Batman with Xbox 360 consoles. It was received well by the media. Unfortunately, this wasn't enough and we never got a sequel. There is a lot that could be added or improved. For one, I would love to see user-created tracks. Yeah, the game is not entirely original, but I had blast playing it. It's over-the-top racing goodness that's sorely lacking nowadays. The soundtrack keeps it engaging, but all I could think of for the first couple of hours is, am I playing FIFA 2007? It's not something I would listen outside of the game, but it's fitting. Of course, I can play it on YouTube for apparent reason, so I replaced it for the video. The game is not available for purchase, but my abandonware has it. Feel free to check it out, you'll definitely have a blast.